What if Allah's silence wasn't a rejection, but a secret? You pray, you move forward, you want to love. But everything collapses again. You think you're missing something. But what if this no you're experiencing today was actually a yes that's taking its time? What if this person Allah is preventing you from reaching was precisely the one He's preparing for you? It's not a coincidence. It's not a failure. It's divine restraint for a connection you can't yet see. Stay. What you're about to hear could change your view of waiting and of love. 1. Allah's silence is not abandonment. It's a dialogue your soul must learn to hear. Have you ever been in that strange season where everything seems suspended? You pray on time. You stay up at night when everyone else is asleep. You offer supplications with tears that won't dry. You open your heart with a sincerity that exhausts you. And yet, nothing moves. Nothing changes. Silence is everywhere. Emptiness, louder than words. Perhaps you tell yourself you've been forgotten, that your voice isn't strong enough, that your heart, however pure, isn't enough to touch the sky. But let me ask you a question. What if this silence isn't an emptiness? What if, on the contrary, it's an answer too profound to be understood right away? There comes a time in the life of a believer when signs become rare, when answers seem absent, and when it's easy to mistake divine silence for heavenly indifference. But what your heart feels as an absence is sometimes a subtle presence, too sacred to take the form of an immediate yes. You see, Allah doesn't always answer with words. He answers with invisible transformations, unexpected deviations, and sometimes even with painful blockages. What if you're not moving forward because He's turning you away from a precipice that you call love? What if that person you wanted so much was a trial disguised as a blessing? What if Allah prevented you from having them, not because you weren't worthy, but because they weren't the ones who would have kept your soul alive in His light? There are bonds your heart craves, but your soul silently rejects. Because your soul recognizes the energies that damage it. It knows when a human being, however attractive, is not a mercy, but a well-packaged distraction. Then Allah intervenes. He creates walls that you call injustices. He places delays that you perceive as rejections. But in reality, it is His Rahmah who acts in the shadows. Because what you call an unbearable weight is sometimes the last bastion between you and an attachment that would have shattered your faith. And Allah knows. He knows what you don't know. He knows what this relationship would have cost you in silence. He knows the degree of light you would have lost for a love without direction. Do you want to know why nothing is moving? Because in the invisible, everything is realigning. And sometimes, the thing you're waiting for is already ready for you. But you're not ready for it yet. Or worse, it's not really for you. And Allah, in His harsh kindness, holds you back. Not to frustrate you, but to protect you from what your heart thinks it wants, and lead you toward what your soul truly needs. It's not a no, it's an I love you too much to leave you here. And I know you want this person, but what I want for you will heal parts of you you've forgotten to listen to. So maybe the reason you're not married yet, or that person has moved away, is because Allah is educating you internally to unite with what is truly sacred. Not just beautiful, not just intense, but blessed. And during this silence, He watches you. He waits to see if you love Him enough, to trust Him when nothing makes sense. Do you have that faith that keeps going, even when the paths are invisible? Because where you see a void, He has already planted a seed. But some seeds grow in the dark, and you will only see the fruits when your heart is ready to recognize them. Do you want an answer? Perhaps what you call an answer is actually a preparation. And what you think is a wall is perhaps a door but a door that opens only from the inside. 2. The story you can't see, but that silently writes to you. Close your eyes for a second. Let the world recede a little. Forget the notifications, the expectations, the comparisons. And imagine, somewhere on this earth, there is another soul, another life. Perhaps a few kilometers away, perhaps on the other side of the world. But this soul is linked to yours by a celestial writing that neither you nor it can yet read. 2 hearts, 2 trajectories, 2 stories written separately, but which must one day intersect. Not to complete each other, because no human being truly completes you, but to rise together, to form an alliance, a balance, a unity, not only in this world, but in the afterlife of souls. But here's the truth. One of them is still broken by a past he hasn't come to terms with, a toxic love, a childhood wound, a betrayal he can't forgive. And the other, he's too closed off, too suspicious. He confuses sincerity with insecurity. He has trouble recognizing the light when it appears in a sincere heart. So Allah delays, not because one isn't good enough for the other, not because He wants to make you suffer, but because He wants the right moment to coincide with the right inner state. And sometimes, to get to that moment, you have to weather storms. You have to mourn what you thought was the love of your life. You have to learn to be alone without feeling empty. You have to relearn how to listen to silence and love without being dependent. While you think nothing is happening, Allah is writing. While you suffer, wondering why you're always alone, someone else, on the other side, is also going through a season of waiting, a season of transformation you will never see. Because this story, yours, is being built in the invisible before appearing in the visible. It is already underway. But like all precious work, it cannot be rushed. Allah does not write fleeting relationships. He writes bridges to Him, connections that purify, encounters that change the trajectory of the soul. Perhaps if you had met this person too soon, you would have ruined them with your insecurities, or they would have hurt you with their unspoken words. Perhaps you would have misused the love you were meant to protect. So He slows down. He moves the pieces of the puzzle. He cuts ties that weren't blessed. He creates delays that your ego hates, but that your soul will later recognize as the greatest blessings. You see only a wall, but in the invisible, this wall is falling, brick by brick, with each sincere prayer, with each quiet sacrifice, with each trial you overcome without turning away from Him. You don't wait in the void. You wait in the sacred writing of a divine moment, and everything you experience today, the disappointments, the rejections, the silences, are part of this same celestial pen. They are the necessary commas in a sentence that will soon move you. You see only the ruins, but Allah builds where you believe He destroys. It's not a no. It's a not now, my servant. It's not time yet. Because sometimes, to love as He wills, you must first die to what you believed to be love, and be reborn into a purer vision, a more stable vision, a vision that no longer seeks another heart as a refuge, but as an extension of your faith. So imagine that as you listen to these words, the person for whom your heart was created may be at this very moment taking a step towards Allah. And that step brings you closer, step by step, silence by silence. Until the moment when you are both rebuilt enough for your paths to cross without breaking. You cannot see this story, but it is already writing to you. 3. You cry for the wrong person, and Allah sees it. You lie down alone another night. The messages are deleted, but the memories remain. The photos are gone, but your soul still bears the imprint. You want to move on, but something is holding you back. It's not love, it's attachment. You cry, but you don't really know why anymore. Is it for this person? Or is it for the version of yourself you lost by loving them? He or she never really saw you. Not your soul, not your light, not that deep part of you that yearns for eternity, the sacred, the invisible. You cling to an image, to a voice, to an us that never really existed, to a hope you created because you needed to believe in it. You wanted this person to fill a void, not always consciously, but because there was a corner of your heart that was crying out too loudly, and you thought someone human could extinguish it. But Allah loves you more than that. He doesn't want you to survive in a love that distances you from your essence. He doesn't want you to build a relationship on the sand of your wounds. So He lets that heart break. Not out of cruelty, but because sometimes you have to break what's crooked to rebuild it straight. And you experience it as abandonment. But in the invisible world, it's surgery on the soul. You bleed, but you heal. Perhaps the one you wanted would have pulled you toward a version of yourself that God doesn't recognize. Perhaps this person, however beautiful, would have fed your ego but starved your faith. You only see what shines, but Allah sees what burns. You see smiles, but Allah sees the detour this relationship would have imposed on your soul. Nights without prayer. Compromises you should never have made. A life where you gave Him less space only to give too much to someone who didn't even understand your soul. And while you collapsed in your bed, thinking you had lost everything, Allah Himself began to rebuild you. He loves you too much to let you fall apart in silence. He loves you enough to tear away what was hurting you, even if you called it love. Because true love doesn't make you doubt your worth. It doesn't empty you. It doesn't make you chase after crumbs. It doesn't make you forget your Creator to please His creation. So yes, you cry, but what you're experiencing isn't an end. It's a cleansing. It's a moment when Allah brings you back to yourself, to Him. You want this person, but you don't yet understand that what your soul is waiting for isn't someone who will fill a void, but someone who will protect your light. The one Allah has chosen for you won't just be a smile. It will be a reminder, a look that inspires peace, not fear, a love that doesn't compete with your bond with Allah, but honors Him. But for now, you see only absence. You look at the silence and call it injustice. You look at loneliness and call it emptiness. You look at that heart you thought was broken, and you don't yet see the wisdom in its cracks. But Allah sees further. He sees the mission you don't yet know. He sees the sacred bond He is shaping. Out of sight, away from disappointments, in a place where your name is already linked to His. Not on a screen, but in a divine decree. And perhaps, the day you stop crying for the wrong person, you will finally hear the call of the one who has been waiting for you from the beginning. 4. The bird and the gilded cage. You are a bird, not an ordinary bird. A bird born with a celestial destination, a soul sculpted for the heights, a heart made for the sky, not for walls. And yet, here you are, whirling around a gilded cage. It shines. It seduces. It seems so reassuring. It promises an always you've never had anywhere else. So you approach. You tell yourself this is where you belong. That this relationship, this person, this promise is the right one. You set your wings. You enter the cage. And you think you found peace. But very quickly, something inside you begins to fade. You no longer fly, you no longer dream. You compromise, little by little, until you no longer recognize your own reflection. But you hold on, because it's harder to leave a gilded cage than to walk away from a visible trap. You say you love it, but in reality, you're afraid you'll have nothing left if you lose it. And then Allah closes the door, not to punish you, but to remind you, you were not created to stay in places that limit your flight. You scream, you cry, you bang on the bars of your path. You ask why what you thought was your chance was taken from you. You see rejection, you feel loss, but in reality, what you're experiencing is a reminder of how high you've reached. Allah knows how high He wants to take you. He knows the love that will make you grow, not the one that keeps you grounded. He knows the person who will see your wing and who won't clip them. Your kingdom spouse is not in this cage. He or she is further away, higher. Not in a close relationship that makes you doubt, frightens you, reduces you, but on a path where faith breathes, where the soul soars. On a road where love is a space of worship, not a contract of dependence. But to get there, you must be willing to leave what shines, to seek what elevates. You must trust in the one who gave you wings, even when the sky is still overcast. Because one day, you will see the truth. That cage you wanted would have been your prison. And this emptiness you feel now is the flutter of air you needed to fly. You haven't seen it yet, but he or she is already on the move. Someone who, like you, has rejected gilded cages. Someone who has chosen waiting over compromise. Someone who is not just ready to love you, but ready to walk with you towards the one who unites you. And as you finally raise your eyes to that sky you had forgotten, the other bird begins to appear, farther away, higher, still on the road, still flying. 5. What if you're the one holding you back? You ask why you're not with the right person yet. You look around you and see people getting together, couples forming. You hear Mabruk. You see hands joining, and you just stand there, waiting, hoping, doubting. So let me ask you a question, and really listen to it. Not with your head, but with your heart. What if you're the one holding you back? No, not because you're not good enough, not because you're broken or too complicated to love, but because Allah loves you too much to give yourself up to someone before you're ready to love wisely. Before you understand that true love doesn't begin when two bodies come together, but when two souls purify themselves separately so that they can recognize each other in the light. So tell me, you want someone who prays for you at night, but do you pray for them, even without knowing them? You want someone who lifts you up, but do you lift yourself up? Or are you waiting for someone to come and repair you? You want a faithful, clean, stable heart, but is yours already that way? Or is it still filled with memories, wounds, fears you've never faced? Perhaps the person you're waiting for is already ready, already making supplications for a spouse who knows how to love for Allah. But Allah isn't sending you this person now because you would ruin them, because you're not yet capable of recognizing them. or worse, because you could damage them because of what you haven't yet healed within yourself. And Allah won't allow that. You want a sacred love, but you haven't yet relearned to love Allah more than your desires. You want someone who understands you, but have you ever truly understood yourself? Do you know your worth? Or do you still define yourself by those who left you? Do you know why you want to get married? Is it for peace? Or to escape an inner war you've never resolved? Look at yourself in the silence, when no one is looking anymore, when the likes stop, when the discussions calm down. What remains? Is this version of you capable of supporting a home, protecting a heart, guiding or following a path to Allah? Or do you just want to be with someone because you're afraid of being alone with yourself? You know, sometimes Allah doesn't hold you back because He forgets you. He holds you back because you forget yourself. And until you understand that pure love is a responsibility, not a temporary comfort, until you've prepared your heart like a garden, not a field of ruins where you want people to seek shelter, then Allah is waiting, not to frustrate you, but to shape you. And now, ask yourself this last question. Not me, not to people, but to yourself, right here, right now. Are you becoming the person you are asking Allah for? Or are you hoping to receive what you haven't yet begun to embody? Because perhaps, until you are ready to love for Allah, Allah will not show you the one He has prepared for you. 6. Divine timing is never a coincidence. You look at your age, you look at the calendar, the weddings around you, the engagements, the congratulations raining down on others while your silence lengthens. And without saying it, without even daring to believe it, you may think you missed the boat, that what Allah had planned for you has passed, that He has forgotten you. But let me remind you of one thing. Allah knows no coincidences. What you call delay, what you experience as absence, is in reality a divine adjustment. Your life is not a series of random events. It is a precise weave, where each invisible thread is knotted by the one who sees what your heart ignores. You're waiting. It is not empty. It is sacred. It is the place where Allah refines you, where He purifies you, where He separates you from that which would have diluted your light. He is not making you wait for someone. He is preparing you for something. It is not just a couple He wants to form. It is a heavenly alliance. Not a relationship based on fluctuating emotions, but a shared mission, where two souls recognize each other not by looks, but by the guidance they carry together. You are not alone. You are set apart. Because what you are about to experience is not common. Because the person Allah has fashioned for you is not living an easy life either. She too is being kept apart. She too is going through her trials. She too may believe she's forgotten. But what you are each experiencing on your own is the exact mirror of what you must bear together. These are not obstacles. They are keys. You see, when Allah wants to unite two hearts, He doesn't bring them face to face right away. He raises them up before Him, each in their own desert, each in their own trial. He reforms them. He empties them of the superfluous. He makes them capable of carrying something greater than themselves. And when they are ready, when their hearts no longer seek shelter, but direction, He brings them together, not a minute too soon, not a second too late. So no, you are not late. You have not been forgotten. You are within the precise plan of a Lord who knows neither error nor approximation. And the longer the wait, the more what happens will carry a weight of meaning you can't even begin to comprehend. Because this isn't just a love story. It's a story of adoration, a love that bows down before kissing, a union that is built in hearts before seeing each other in eyes. You can't speed up a divine plan, but you can surrender to it, because He heard you. And what you're experiencing now is already part of the answer. Your heart doesn't beat in a vacuum. It is guided. And if Allah holds you back, it's not to deprive you. It's to unite you at the right time with the right person for the right mission. You're not waiting for nothing. You're growing. You're building yourself. And your kingdom spouse may be doing the same thing on the other side. So stay close to God, even when you don't understand His deadlines, because what He has in store for you is far greater than what you are pursuing. Subscribe if your heart moved during this video. Leave a comment. I trust His timing. And share this video with someone who needs to understand that their waiting has meaning.